The silence of one of the world's largest oil trading hubs was violently shattered. This is the story of the attack on Fujairah. The darkness of the night, the calm waves of the sea, and the silence of Fujairah, the calm before a devastating storm. Fujairah, a crucial part of the UAE, serves as one of the world's largest oil trading hubs, a vital artery for the global economy. Suddenly, that silence was ripped apart. Sounds of war, balls of fire, the blare of sirens, and then utter devastation. This was not a scene from a movie. This was real. The secure vault that was Fujairah was set ablaze. Fujairah was once considered a secure vault, a safe haven. Today, that perception is gone. The heat of these flames didn't stop at the Gulf nations. It reached all the way to New Delhi as our own people bled in a war that wasn't ours. This is the Fujairah Petroleum Industry Zone, a hub that powers the global economy. Work continues here day and night. It is the beating heart of the global economy, constantly supplying the world. Thousands of people toil here, far from their homes, including many Indian nationals who came with dreams of a better future for their families. They were oblivious to the deadly game unfolding above. Then, the attack began. The deadly game was in motion. Not one, not two, but 15 missiles and 4 drones were circling in the sky, ready to strike. These weapons were not from a terrorist group. They were launched from Iran. The defense systems went into action, trying to repel the attack. The UAE's air defense system activated immediately, with missiles colliding in the sky to protect the site. However, one messenger of death, a drone, managed to breach the defense shield and struck directly at Fujairah's largest oil facility. The ensuing chaos was immediate and devastating. The explosion was so massive that the night sky lit up like day, with flames shooting upward from the facility. Amid the raging fire, 3 Indian nationals, simply doing their jobs, were severely injured. They were collateral damage in a conflict they had nothing to do with. The panic quickly spread beyond the facility, extending to the sea. British military forces observed that 2 cargo ships near the coast were also engulfed in intense flames. Everything was burning. This attack raises serious questions about the security of critical global infrastructure and the far-reaching consequences of regional. The geopolitical landscape has been shaken by a major conflict between Iran and the UAE, but the reaction from New Delhi is what commands attention. An attack has occurred, escalating tensions in the Middle East, with immediate and profound implications for global stability. As news of the attack reached New Delhi, an unusual silence fell over the city. This wasn't the silence of fear, but of anger and resolve. The government of India immediately condemned the attack in the strongest possible terms, making their position absolutely clear. India's official stance is one of firm disapproval, emphasizing the gravity of targeting innocent lives and infrastructure. Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Randhir Jaiswal used one powerful word that broadcast India's position to the world: unacceptable. India is uncompromising, stating that an attack on its citizens regardless of location will not be tolerated at any cost. The demand is clear. Targeting innocent people and civilian infrastructure must cease immediately. India has a long-standing tradition of advocating for peace and stability on the global stage. The country has always advocated for diplomacy and dialogue as the primary path to resolving conflicts. However, when it comes to the safety and security of its citizens, India's tone is firm, unwavering, and uncompromising. Beyond citizen safety, India is also deeply concerned with the broader geopolitical implications, especially concerning international trade routes. India called for safe and uninterrupted navigation and trade through the vital Strait of Hormuz, strictly adhering to international law. India made it clear that it stands ready to support every effort towards a peaceful and lasting resolution to the escalating tensions. But to truly understand the situation, we must ask, why did this attack happen? What drove Iran to strike the UAE? The story behind this latest flare-up is more terrifying than any thriller, rooted in a major international confrontation. It all began on February 28th, when the United States and Israel carried out a major retaliatory strike on Iran. In response to this strike, Iran took a drastic step that left the entire world stunned and nervous. Iran moved to shut down one of the world's most critical maritime choke points, the strategically vital Strait of Hormuz. This narrow sea passage between Iran and Oman facilitates the flow of a significant portion of the world's oil supply. By choking off this route, Iran sent shockwaves across the globe. Fuel prices began to skyrocket worldwide, and the entire global. Welcome to an analysis of the escalating tensions in the Middle East, specifically surrounding the Strait of Hormuz conflict and the recent attack on Fujairah. At the beginning of April, a very fragile ceasefire was established, but it was delicate, like glass, and easily shattered. U.S. President Donald Trump announced a military operation to safely escort ships stranded in the Strait of Hormuz out of danger. The core objective of the U.S. action was to safely escort ships that were stranded in the Strait of Hormuz, moving them away from potential conflict zones. The United States aimed to break Iran's blockade to ease pressure on the global economy, which heavily relies on this critical shipping lane. However, Iran had no intention of backing down and quickly escalated the situation in response to the U.S. operation. Iran opened fire on vessels moving through the waters, directly challenging the U.S. military operation. Tehran declared that this new U.S. move was a violation of the fragile 3-week ceasefire that had been in place. This intense standoff was followed by a major development, the attack on Fujairah, adding another layer of crisis to the situation. When Iran was questioned about the Fujairah attack, their response only added to the confusion surrounding the incident. They neither directly confirmed the attack, nor did they deny it, leaving the world to speculate on their involvement. Iran's foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, issued only a public warning, stating that the U.S. and the UAE should avoid being dragged back into a quagmire. An unnamed military official on Iranian state television went even further, making specific claims about the incident. This official claimed that Iran had no intention of targeting the UAE or its vital oil facilities. Instead, he blamed the entire incident on what he called the recklessness of the U.S. military, shifting accountability. According to the official, the United States was attempting to create what he termed an, quote, illegal maritime corridor through the waters. This series of events underscores the dangerously rising tensions in the region, with significant implications for global. The Strait of Hormuz is at the heart of escalating global tensions. Today, we look at how this critical choke point is pushing the world closer to conflict. The Strait of Hormuz, a vital passage for global energy and trade, has become increasingly perilous. The dangers are so high that shipping companies are now unwilling to risk their vessels through this route. With the waters effectively, quote, under a watch of fire, insurance companies are rapidly pulling back, further crippling maritime movement and heightening economic anxiety. The core of this crisis is the escalating standoff between the United States and Iran, a geopolitical rivalry played out in this critical maritime space. This intense confrontation is more than just a regional issue. It is a flashpoint with the potential to push the entire world toward the brink of a massive war. The recent attack on Fujairah is undeniable proof that the fragile threads of ceasefire are unraveling fast, causing hopes for lasting peace to turn to ashes. Beyond geopolitical maneuvering, we must consider the immense human cost of conflict, particularly for those caught innocently in the middle. Think about the 3 Indian workers that night, simply doing their jobs. They had no part in the bitterness between powerful nations, yet they paid the price. When powerful countries engage in games of strength, it is always the ordinary people, with no stake in the conflict, who are forced to bear the greatest burden. India has issued a strong message, more than just a diplomatic statement. It is a warning to a world perched precariously on a powder keg. This is an urgent appeal for peace and a call for dialogue to prevent this regional fire from spreading beyond its current confines. If peace is not chosen, the fire will reach every household globally through soaring oil prices, collapsing economies, and inevitable bloodshed. The narrow passage of the Strait of Hormuz is no longer merely a trade route. It has transformed into one of the most dangerous battlegrounds in the world. What was once a symbol of global commerce is now a stage for intense military tension and confrontation. Drones falling from the sky and burning ships at sea are stark proof that we are standing on the very edge of a massive, uncontrollable storm. The time for choice is now, either a path of dialogue and de-escalation or the path of catastrophic conflict. India has clearly stated its position. It desires peace, but not at the expense of its people's safety and livelihoods. The decision now rests with those whose fingers are on the trigger. Will they heed the warnings, or is Fujairah just the beginning? Night will fall again, and silence may return, but the world will sleep with its eyes open, knowing that the fire in the Strait of Hormuz is far from extinguished.